SuperTalk Mississippi Media production.
I'm Steve Azar, and I'm on the other side of the microphone, meaning I'm asking the questions this time, and oh, have mercy for the airwaves. I spent 20 years in Music City, wrote and made some hits, traveled the world, and then moved my family back to the birthplace of American music and where the magnolia trees prosper. And now every time I put my feet on Mississippi soil, when I'm off the road, well, I'm at peace. On this show, it's all about hearing the stories straight from the mouths of the friends I've made along the way, their journey to success. Heck, there might be someone on, I don't even know, but you know how us Mississippi types are. We tend to take well to new company. In a Mississippi Minute, all 60 of them. I'm Steve Azar. It's just like that muddy river, moving slow. Ain't no worries, it's how life goes, baby. In a Mississippi Minute. That's right. Hey folks, time for another In a Mississippi Minute. I am Steve Azar. Thank you for allowing me to listen. I had a good friend who's on my show a lot, Mike the Monk Guy Farrell, send me this little thing that sits in there and it says listening, to remind me of the one thing that I've been working on since I've started this show is the art of listening. And I've been grateful for every moment that I have shut up and actually listened. So I've got a reminder now. I want to remind you guys to go to visitmississippi.org and plan a road trip around your glorious Mississippi. So many wonderful things. I call it hallowed ground. I've been all over the country. I've been all over the world. I've spent a lot of time all over the place, and there is no better place than our home in Mississippi. Believe in it. Trust me. Take a road trip. Today is one of those guys, fabric, art, whatever you call it. The magic something in the water. He drank it. We are forever grateful. He is a true Southern storyteller. You talk about this a lot, about having these gifted storytellers from our state whose life and work weave together the threads of law, literature, music history, and Mississippi soul. I don't know what it is about great lawyers becoming great authors. I got to figure that out. Born in Pascagoula, Mississippi, he's worn many hats over the years: attorney, state official, university professor, and acclaimed novelist. His mystery novels, including Big Easy Back Road and The Green-Eyed Hurricane, have earned accolades alongside literary giants, like John Grisham, etc., etc. And his deep Mississippi roots have long fueled his creative and historical work. Believe me, I get it. He isn't here today to talk about just his career, even though, you know me, I like to dig deep, not only in his career, but in his wonder years. I'm going to ask him a whole lot of things to celebrate that, but he's also here to share the rock and roll origin story involving fire-breathing stage antics, a Mississippi farm boy turned masked musical outlaw, and one of the biggest pop stars of the 20th century, none other than Pat Boone. It's the improbable saga of Jerry Marty Lott, a.k.a. the Phantom, a forgotten pioneer whose 1958 recording of Love Me may have kick-started the entire psychobilly genre, which I've not heard about. My guest uncovered this and an extended interview with Pat himself. And trust me, I personally have some wild stories that I will never share. Or maybe if I get maybe 10 years older, I might. I don't know. If I'm checking out, I might just spill it all. Now, let's get to it right now with one incredible author, Mississippi-made senior attorney for the Mississippi Secretary of State's office. I love that, with Martin Hegwood. What's up, Martin?
Steve, thank you so much for this. First of all, we want to send out a shout out to our mutual friend, Bo Thomas, up in Memphis.
The sweetest man, smartest man ever.
Yeah, he really is. I had the privilege of having lunch with him at a Rotary Club meeting up there, and he made this connection, and I appreciate it. I think he's working on a biography of Britney Spears right now or something.
He's doing something. All I know is, I'm telling you, when I was struggling and I hadn't had hits yet, and he was the guy, he was one of my wife's father, my father-in-law and mother-in-law, they're best friends, their parents, Bo and Ruby Lynn Thomas. And I'm telling you that the best way to explain is I couldn't wait to see him, because when I was struggling emotionally and prayed about as much as I could about what's going on, kids are coming, I needed to have hits and this and that, he would ease the pain, he would calm the storm, and he would make me feel like there ain't no doubt it's about to happen, and I'll be dog if he wasn't right. But I'm telling you, it was those moments with him that it kept me breathing, man. It kept me hopeful. And he's that man. So anyway, I'm grateful that he's connected us. I'm glad you guys got to know each other. All right, this is going to be about you. Can you just give us a little bit of your wonder days, the kid, the growing up? I like to know how you got to become an attorney. What made you decide that? And when did all this writing bug start to take shape? And were you doing that as a kid?
Yeah, well, I was born in Pascagoula and literally on the banks of a bayou. And we still live there. We still have the property. In fact, I was just down there for about 10 days. I split my time between Canton, Mississippi and Pascagoula, Mississippi. And I grew up, fishing and crabbing and cast nets and little skiffs. We'd go out in those marshes when we were 8, 9, 10 years old. And it's one of these stories that's, they say the parents will turn you out in the morning and come back by dark. Well, we did the same thing, except on bicycles. We were in little bitty wooden boats. And they had no idea where we were. There's no way they could have. They didn't have GPS back then.
No phones or nothing. They just sent us out.
Nothing. And, we managed to make it through those marshes, and I loved it. I love every minute of it. I didn't realize how much I missed Pascagoula until I spent a long time away from it. It's a wonderful place, a wonderful city. It's on the rise right now. It's doing really well. But anyway.
Hey, Martin, I want to ask you something. Can I ask you something? While you're in the marsh and you're this kid, do you ever recollect and look back and go those key times for you to sort of become that creative mind and sort of imagine and all that? Was that sort of the beginning, if you can recall?
Yeah, maybe so. I didn't live in town particularly. I mean, I was we weren't even city limits. But I used to spend a lot of time just watching sunsets on our pier. It's a beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. But I can remember, even as a kid, loving stories. I spent a lot of time reading, an awful lot of time reading. And I wasn't really a lonely kid, but I could retreat. I could go on my own little retreats. So I always had this bug to write, but I didn't pursue it until much later in life. That's a mistake. I mean, if you got the bug, you need to do it. I've got a friend, Billy Hughes, who was the mayor of Gulfport down there, and I
love Billy. Yeah, Billy's a great man.
Well, Billy is in a band called Cut Bait.
Yeah.
And I happened to run into him on the streets of Ocean Springs the other day, and he was talking about his creative outlet, which is music, and mine, which is writing. And we were talking about this urge, this obsession to get something out, to create. And he said, it's not that I want to do it, it's that I can't not do it. And that's about right. I mean, if you got the bug, it will eventually surface.
Sure. Sure, I get that. Right.
Yeah. In fact, I tried to suppress it. I wrote novels. I had a job. I never was really good at jobs. I mean, I didn't like the whole office routine and what have you. But anyway, I had a real good job and I was completely miserable. And it just hit me that one of the reasons that I was so miserable, even with this good job, was that I had always in the back of my mind wanted to be a writer, but I just didn't have the courage to pursue it. It takes courage to pursue your
yeah, because you're about to become extreme, especially if you're doing nonfiction, but you're starting to become extremely vulnerable to the world.
Yes.
And that's a hard thing to put a pen to paper and let it all out. As a songwriter, man, we had to learn to be that way. And sometimes it took a minute to do that, to be free enough to do that. But until you do it, you can't connect with anybody. So, right. Unless you're making it all up, but anyway, keep going. I love just kind of interjecting. You got me thinking as we go, which is unusual for me to be thinking.
I had what amounts to an epiphany. And it was just that the reason you're miserable is because you were suppressing this desire to write. And this was late at night in San Diego, California, on the beach, in a suit, sitting on the sand. And I was just miserable. And suddenly it just hit me that the reason I was doing this was because I'd always talked about being a writer, but I didn't have the courage to do it. And I made a vow to myself at that point that I had gone through law school. It was 3 years and it wasn't any fun.
Yeah.
But I've suffered through it. So I said, I'm going to give myself the next 3 years to become a writer. And I got up and I went back into the hotel It was this Hotel Del Coronado that.
Hey, you know how they make us go to commercials because we have to because they won't let me have shut.
Right.
Hotel, what's the hotel called?
Coronado, Del Coronado.
Hotel Coronado. All right, let's take 1 second. I want to make sure that we get this in there. Hold that thought. Let's thank our sponsor, which is the incredible visitmississippi.org, who knows all about you, by the way. You're part of the fabric of why we get to continue to tell our story, which is all of us storytellers who've been blessed to do it. Go to visitmississippi.org. Martin Hegwood's my guest. We'll be right back. Don't go nowhere.
Baby, I'm gonna be good, loving you. Yeah, baby, I'm gonna be good.
Listen and watch all your favorite SuperTalk Mississippi shows live and on demand. Listen to tons of music. Plus, get the latest breaking news from across the state with the SuperTalk Mississippi app. The SuperTalk Mississippi app. Download the SuperTalk app on your iPhone or Android device now for free. Just search SuperTalk Mississippi in your app store on your mobile device to get everything Mississippi all in one place. The SuperTalk Mississippi app. Get it now.
Hey. Cruising into a second in a Mississippi Minute segment. I've got incredible author, lawyer, novelist. I mean, this guy has done it all. Storyteller from where else? Our Mississippi, our Gulf Coast. Beautiful, beautiful down there. Pascagoula. A lot of memories growing up playing tennis in the early days and sports, everything down there. And go to visitmississippi.org and then just search out the Gulf Coast from Ocean Springs to Biloxi to Gulfport, Pascagoula, where this man was born and raised. He didn't have a choice but to be inspired. Re-inspire yourself in our Mississippi. Martin Hegwood is my guest today. Martin, all right, we're talking about Hotel Coronado in San Diego, California.
Yeah, that's the famous hotel where they filmed the movie Some Like It Hot with Marilyn Monroe. It's the largest wooden building in the world. Beautiful. But anyway, I was in this beautiful setting, miserable, and it finally hit me that the reason was because I was not pursuing this dream that I'd been suppressing a long time, mainly because I didn't have the courage to do it. But I just decided that I was going to teach myself how to be a writer. It took me 3 years of law school, so I vowed that I would do something every day for 3 years to learn how to become a writer. And I got up at that very minute and I got some hotel stationery and I started writing the biography of this character that I had in my mind. And I wrote for a couple of hours that night and I decided I was going to do something every day. And I did. I wrote, I read, I studied the art of writing. And you as an artist and a writer, there's nothing scarier than a blank page, It's tough. And it's kind of like jogging. The first 3 or 4 weeks of trying to do this every day was really, really tough. But after I got past that little hump, it got to the point where I needed to do it every day, and I did. I started writing and studying and reading and talking about it, not about the story, but about the art of writing. And pretty soon I came up with this story. I was fortunate enough to sell it to St. Martin's Press in New York, which is now called Minotaur.
Your first story you get to sell. I mean, you realize that you're one of like my always talk my Hootie and the Blowfish pals, Darius, Mark, Dean, Sony. First ever album together. They sold, with 25 million albums plus. I'm going like, give me a break. How about the road there? Give me a little break. And there you are. You're the same as them. So there you go. The bottom line is y'all have more talent than me, and I'm a dumb, slow learner. But I love hearing that. So your first effort gets published.
Right. The first novel. It was called Big Easy Back Road, which is probably still my favorite. Well, this new one I like, but anyway, Big Easy Back Road, as the name implies, it's set in New Orleans and the Mississippi Gulf Coast. The Big Easy Back Road is Old Highway 90. That used to be the main way to get into New Orleans from the Gulf Coast. When I-10 came in, it made it into a back road. A lot of the action in the story was set on Highway 90. And so I call it the Big Easy Back Road, which I kind of like that title. But I wrote it, I sold it, and then the agent told me, he said, well, I got a 2-book contract on this thing, and your second one will be due in 10 months. Well, I just spent 3 years writing the first one, and then I thought, my gosh, how in the world am I going to come up with another one in 10 months? But, it's funny. Once you do it, you can do it again. There's something
you had 10 months to get that next. You kidding me?
Well, that's the way it goes in commercial fiction now.
Wow, man.
Look, some people are turning out 2 and 3 books a year. Yeah, now, well, they're not exactly Absalom, but they are books, and it's tough. But anyway, I did that, and then they renewed it for 2 more. And finally down the road, I sold a few books. I mean, my wife and I went to Europe, and I bought a couple of things, but not any of the big megastar money. It's a funny thing about writing. They say that your chances of making a living purely from fiction are about the same as your chances of starting in the NFL. That's about right. There aren't that many who do it, and everybody knows the big names. Of course, my former law school classmate John Grisham comes to mind here.
It's crazy y'all end up writing. I mean, this is insane. I mean, I love that. First of all, back up for a second. Can you turn a book in and have the cover and the back, but no words in the middle? Is that classified as a book in 9 months? I'm trying to imagine me writing an album that I'm proud of every 9 months, and I guess I could do it, but it would be quantity over quality, for me. Anyway, that's just interesting to me. So, but you and Grisham are in law school together?
No. Well, we were, but I didn't really know him in law school. Where I really met him and got to know him was when he was in the legislature. And that's when he was writing A Time to Kill, when he was in the legislature. But that doesn't happen to too many people. Now you talk about.
He's on movies, big movie stars, and that adds to the pot, Come on.
That's the key. That's the key. Movie. If you can get a movie or a TV deal, then you hit the big time. But that's been true for a long time. People don't realize it, but William Faulkner struggled, and some of his best, The Sound and the Fury, he didn't sell anything. His first one, Mosquitoes or Soldier's Pay, they didn't sell anything. And then he decided that he wanted to do something to sell, and so he wrote Sanctuary. Mm-hmm. And Sanctuary is rough. I mean, it is a rough pot boiler, sleazy. And Faulkner says this. Estelle upbraided him because she said it's just trash. And he said, I know, and watch it, it's going to sell. And sure enough, not only did it sell, they made a movie out of it. The Story of Temple Drake was based on that. Once he did that, then he hit the big times. So movies and TV are key. Yeah. If you really want to be a big time writer, that's a key.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Yeah. That's floodgates. Exactly.
Yeah. But the truth of the matter is that for writers, everything just has to fall into place. There is a certain element of luck into it. Now, first of all, you have to put out a product, but the ones that really hit big, there is a certain amount of luck. But I always am reminded of Bear Bryant when he came back. He had been losing to Tennessee for 3.5 quarters, and he came back 2 late scores on complete flukes, and he won the game by 1 point in the fourth quarter. And afterward, they interviewed him and said, Coach, you got lucky today. And he looked just as straight as he could, deadpan. He said, you put yourself in a position to be lucky.
That's exactly right.
That's right.
That's exactly right. That's exactly, I mean, that's exactly what you do, and that's when luck happens. You can't win the lottery if you don't go buy a lottery ticket. It doesn't happen. But with all the hard work they put in preparation, weird things can happen in any genre of life. I've seen it. You've seen it when you're going, there's no way that happened, but you put yourself in that spot. I get that. I love you targeting that. I'm trying to, so back up for 1 second, because just the title of the Big Easy Back Road, I want you to tell me so I'll feel better about myself. It takes you all these years to write this. Mm-hmm. I've been writing about Mississippi when I was a kid, but I had a better feel for it when I left for 20 years, and I was still writing about it when I came home. everything was so visual. Everything was obvious. And the pen, it grabbed my hand, and the paper, and it did it. I'm telling you, I had nothing to do with it. It just wrote itself. Tell me that this big, easy back road, this highway that you rode in on 90 all the time, everything. Tell me that those visions and those visual aspects, we call it furniture in the songwriting business, all the things you can see, touch, remember, recall, emotions that you can feel, they can become extremely visual. Tell me that they all became very apparent and visual to you.
Yes, they did.
Okay.
They did.
I'm happy now. You and I are going to have 40 Mississippi Minutes. This is going to be a problem. We hadn't even gotten started talking about the Pat Boone story. That could be in a Mississippi Minute episode 14 with me and you. I'm with the fabulous Martin Hegwood. Truly, truly phenomenal writer. Check his books out. Big Easy Back Road, The Green-Eyed Hurricane. I'm going to be in his neck of the woods tomorrow, which is we're taping, so it would have already happened doing the 20th anniversary to Hurricane Katrina, doing One Mississippi, our state song, which I'm so grateful that I was able to, good Lord, help me write, or he wrote it, and I just was the vehicle with about 45 beautiful school children up there closing it out. So we're looking forward to doing that. We'll be right back with Martin. Don't go nowhere. Visit Mississippi.org. Plan a road trip to the Gulf Coast.
$20,000 available for first-time home buyers. Hey folks, Steve Azar here. Helping is the heart of our friends at Guarantee Bank. They offer programs like the Home Buyer Equity Leverage Partnership Grant that can assist qualified first-time home buyers with up to $20,000 towards down payment and provide home ownership counseling to empower you on your journey. These funds are first come, first served. Learn more about this program and to apply now, go to gbtonline.com. Guarantee Bank, member FDIC.
There's a ton of content from SuperTalk Mississippi on our new YouTube channel. Just search SuperTalk Mississippi on YouTube or go to supertalk.fm/YouTube. Be sure and subscribe for free to get the latest scoop on what's happening in Mississippi news, politics, sports, and the good things happening here in the state. From the Seabrook in a Mississippi Minute with Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Flying down that levee road, trying to see how fast you go. I got my baby along for the ride. It's forever far as I can see. At least that's what I want to believe, girl. As the sun sets in your eyes.
Steve Azar back in a Mississippi Minute. I got a Mississippi storyteller. Not only the Big Easy Back Road, not only the Green-Eyed Hurricane, the novel, but Queen of Memphis, his new, latest novel, right, Martin?
Correct.
Martin Hegwood is my guest today. Visit Mississippi.org celebrates we have a writer's trail, and if Martin's not on it, one day he will be, and that's part of the fabric of our magic of Mississippi. Go to visit Mississippi.org. Martin Hegwood is my guest. Let's talk about the Queen of Memphis, and I think it relates to a lot of what I was asking you before we took the break there.
Yeah, the Queen of Memphis, of course, as the title implies, is set in Memphis, but a lot of it happens in the northwest Mississippi Delta, specifically Coahoma County.
Larksdale.
Which I changed to Coahatchee County, which is kind of a Cohatchee County, which is a combination of Coahoma and Tallahatchie. But I talk about the Delta culture a lot, what's going on and all this, and people ask me, since I didn't grow up there, how do I know this? Well, I spent a lot of time up there. Had a good friend in Clarksdale, and he generously allowed me to use his little extra room. But I find that because I'm not a Delta native, I can come in and look at the area with fresh eyes. And sometimes even the people who are from the Delta have gone, the term nose blind, where you kind of go blind to things that are so second nature to you that
no matter how beautiful it is, you don't see it. You're used to it. Exactly.
That's right. Exactly. So I approached the Delta with fresh eyes, and that helped immensely.
Wow.
Wow.
I think that you see that and notice it as a child. You see it all, you absorb it all, and then you get real busy, whether it's sports or whether it's school and going to law school, going to work, whatever it is. And then for some reason, you're so tied up in your lives, and you have kids and you're tied up in their lives, and then you forget about all this beautiful, incredible resources, natural resources around you. I believe it's when you finally have time, or you forced yourself to start writing, which is how you do it, even as songwriters, to get into the spirit of it and the mode of it where it becomes natural and it becomes necessary. And then you see all this stuff again when you ride by it or when you experience it. And that is the magic. As long as when the pen is ready for you to come back full circle and see that stuff, when your mind is free enough to absorb it. But when you don't have everything else clogged up and you don't have a lot of obligations, and they get in the way of seeing the beautiful things in life, for sure. But continue on. I'm sorry.
That's right. But, we all do have a lot of obligations, but I think sometimes we spend too much time in pursuit of whatever our career may happen to be, work in office and things like that. You've got to take care of your bills and you've got to raise your family and all this kind of stuff. But just getting ahead for the sake of making a lot of money is just not where it is. It doesn't give you a lot of satisfaction. I hear that from other people. I've never done it, so I really don't know. But I would say this, as far as the careers, when you spend a lot of time in the office and spend a lot of extra time in the office, 20 years from now, the only people who are going to remember that you spend all that extra time in the office are your children. They're the only ones who are going to remember that, and not in a positive way. Not in a positive way. So don't neglect other people, and don't neglect your creative urges. It doesn't have to be writing. It doesn't have to be music. It could be pottery. It could be most anything. But one of the problems we have now is this alienation that we have because we don't create products. We sit before a computer and make ephemeral blips on a screen that are gone when you hit the delete key. There's nothing to show for it. No tangible product out there. I think human beings are made to create, to have innovations and just to make something, make sense of the world. And you can only do that. You can only know yourself when you really, writing is a good example. You really get to know yourself. And you were talking about how scary it is sometimes, and it is scary. I mean, I write things in these books and I hope people don't take it the wrong way sometimes, but invariably they will. You've got to develop a pretty tough hide on some of this stuff.
Oh, sure you do.
And it's kind of a funny thing. People will come to me sometimes and they've written a manuscript and they're really reluctant to let me see it. I mean, at first, they're kind of embarrassed by it and all that. It's kind of a funny thing. I was the same way. You want 10 million people to buy it, but you don't want one person to look at it. You've got to get to the point where not only are you not offended when somebody criticizes, you look for it. You want somebody to point out the flaws. At that point, you've become a writer. When you know that you want criticism, you don't want a friend patting you on the back and saying, "Yeah, that's great."
We had that nonstop. Part of the mentoring process in Nashville was we were all very good at critiquing each other's work, and there was none of us that couldn't handle it. None of the ones that ended up having hits. It's interesting you're saying that, but I was around this group of folks that just happened to be coming there. They're all very, very talented from all around the South, mostly the South. Grew up on farms, grew up in small worlds, and they said something that you said earlier that I think that is so important, and we're going to find out in the next generation, especially of creative minds. They're going to be making music through AI and all that now, so it's going to be whatever it's going to be. That's unfortunately where we're probably heading as part of it. But you bring up growing up and you're in the marsh and your parents they were cool with it. My parents would put us on a bike and we were gone. We'd ride to the Indian Mountain. We'd ride 50 miles a day. We'd get ices at the Pack and Sack and we were gone, and we go to baseball practice after that and we come back on our bike. I mean, they never saw us from sun up to sundown. It was those times on the Mississippi River, on the levee, when we were kids cooking after games under the levee and sleeping under the bridge, and all that stuff we did that was tangible stuff. And those things, as when you're a writer, I mean, you can't help but write about it. And at some point, it served me well, and it's been my career. I just feel like that this next generation, I do get concerned that if it's all screens and they're not doing the marsh thing and they're not on the bike going to the Indian Mountains and hanging out at the river and doing all these things without a phone in their hand, I mean, what's to come of this creative side that you and I know that you have to experience for it to eventually leak out of you?
You are exactly right. And we've got too many helicopter parents. Steve, let me ask you, when you were growing up and you're talking about all of that, how many play dates did your parents arrange for you? 0.
Play dates? No, my God. My parents said, they sat me down and told me I have too many different kinds of friends and that you need to slow down because we can't keep up with you. I mean, I was all about that. So I was running from music friends to basketball friends to baseball friends to football. I mean, there were different pockets of friends, and it was, it was a beautiful thing. And we got to take a break. A beautiful thing was, Martin, when we got all the friends, when all my friends got together, I felt like, that's cool to see the musicians getting along with the athletes. And maybe that would have never happened, and I was both. And it always made me feel comforting, and they all became great friends. And I've been on both sides of that. I've been the one that's been brought into a friendship and the one that's helped people build friendships and relationships. And without them, we got nothing. Martin Hegwood is my guest today. His latest book, Queen of Memphis, you got to check it out. I'm learning things like you are. Visit Mississippi.org, the Writer's Trail. Martin, it's his next destination. We'll be right back.
Oh, the blues and the truth. In the night I fell for you. You're everything that I've become. While the signs and the times and the memories in my mind, all roads lead back to Highway 61. Yeah, all roads lead back to Highway 61. Highway 61. Highway 61.
$20,000 available for first-time home buyers. Hey folks, Steve Azar here. Helping is the heart of our friends at Guarantee Bank. They offer programs like the Home Buyer Equity Leverage Partnership Grant that can assist qualified first-time home buyers with up to $20,000 towards down payment and provide home ownership counseling to empower you on your journey. These funds are first come, first served. Learn more about this program and to apply now, go to gbtonline.com. Guarantee Bank, member FDIC.
Listen and watch all your favorite SuperTalk Mississippi shows live and on demand. Listen to tons of music. Plus, get the latest breaking news from across the state with the SuperTalk Mississippi app. The SuperTalk Mississippi app. Download the SuperTalk app on your iPhone or Android device now for free. Just search SuperTalk Mississippi in your app store on your mobile device to get everything Mississippi all in one place. The SuperTalk Mississippi app. Get it now.
Be sure to tune in.
I can't even talk today. Martin Hegwood is my guest. This is my first interview after being on vacation basically for the month of August because it's the only time I have off. And of course I go somewhere hotter than it is in Mississippi, me and my wife, so go figure that. But we appreciate getting the time off and to rest the mind, but I'm having to actually learn to talk again. And I need to look at my thing. Listen, Steve, let Martin talk because you're talking too much. But he's gotten me excited about this creative process. And as you guys know me through the years here, this is nothing better than hearing how it all comes about to me and how he makes his cake in the oven and ends up being a novel. Yeah, just the whole ingredients that go in, I get excited. Speaking of exciting, I love my friends over there at visitmississippi.org. Rochelle and the team there is rocking it for the state, talking about the business that comes in because of our creativity. Go to visitmississippi.org. Be proud of your Mississippi. Plan a road trip with your loved ones. Martin Hegwood is a part of that fabric. As a writer, a novelist, he gets it. And I'll have a short segment left. So obviously we didn't get to the Pat Boone story. I was teasing you all, so you would have to listen tomorrow. So that's what's going to happen. We're going to have a 2-part series with Martin. Take me down this road. Continue with Queen of Memphis.
There's a literary competition for manuscripts that's based here in Mississippi. It's the William Faulkner Literary Competition. And the awards are given in his hometown of New Albany once a year. It's 26 years old and it has gotten to the point where it drew like 350 entries. I think there are about 120 in the novel category, 5 different countries, 38 different states. So it's gotten to be international in scope.
Sure.
And I entered this manuscript, which at the time was just called Memphis, and I won. So when I won the novel category on that, I said, well, this thing, maybe I can get it into a book. And I sort of rewrote it and reworked it, not rewrote it exactly, but reworked it and sent it off again. And of course, it's real hard without an agent. And right now I don't have an agent. The agent that I had for a long time dropped out of the business, let's say. And I was tired of it.
What do you need an agent for? You're a lawyer. You can be your own agent.
Yeah. Oh, Lord, you know what they say about a lawyer who represents himself? He's got a fool for a client, and a bad lawyer too.
Oh my God, that's funny. I never heard that.
Yeah. If Tara Stringfellow had published Memphis 50 years ago, I might go ahead and call it Memphis, but I didn't want to do that, and so I just thought about the main character and her quest to rise in Memphis society, and Queen of Memphis came to mind. And I'm glad because I really like Queen of Memphis better.
I do too. Yeah. I love it. I love it.
And it's true. I mean, it's the story of this tough woman. She is. Oh, she's.
Where'd this character come from?
Okay, I always start with characters. That's what I do. Of characters, I kind of know where it's going to be and when it's going to occur. But then I start with the characters and I populate the book with the characters before I really get into writing. And the characters tend to tell their own story. The character in this one was going to be a 30-something young man who was a lobbyist in Washington, D.C., who was from Memphis. And I started writing his family tree. I mean, I go all the way back to great-grandparents on this thing sometimes. And his mother was a very aristocratic, rich woman from Memphis and pretty boring. I mean, actually, they lived a very sedate life and what have you. And she was aristocratic and had the name of Julia. Well, I wanted to kind of spice it up a little bit. Not that she was ever going to be a real character in the story, just a background character. And the more I got into Julia's biography, she started taking over the story. And pretty soon, Julia elbowed her way up to the top, and she became not a Memphis-born aristocrat, but a girl from the small town in the Delta who married into a rich family. And I had to change the name of Julia to Luann because I thought that sounded more small town Mississippi than Julia. But she just took over. I mean, she really took over and started writing the whole story. And I love her character. I mean, she's strong, she's feisty, she's deeply flawed. I mean, all these characters are deeply flawed. And you got to do that. You've got to do that.
You're seeing that a lot in TV now in these series like Ozark and, I mean, the list goes on and on. They've got some tough women in there, man. I mean, like tougher than I've ever seen. And they're crazy flawed. Well,
the state of Mississippi is deeply flawed in so many ways. And that's what makes it so lovable. Yeah. That's the reason we love it. That's the reason that creativity exists here. There's a saying that the essence of drama is conflict. The essence of drama is conflict, and Lord knows we lead the league in conflict. We've had it forever, and that's embrace it, love it. You know, Mississippi is just a creative cauldron that springs forth in so many different.
It does.
But
you
anyway.
and I are locked and loaded in the field. Here's the problem with the word anyway that you said. Anyway, it means our time's run out. But we get to continue, and we're going to celebrate this story with Pat Boone in episode 2. Are you cool with doing a round 2 with me?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. We'll do that. I appreciate you taking the time. This book out by Martin Hegwood, my guest today, Queen of Memphis, is out. His latest, Big Easy Back Road and The Green-Eyed Hurricane. Incredible novels. I'll have accolades and awards wrapped all around him. Please check it out. He is one of Mississippi's jewels, crown jewels, and I love it. Even if he gets started late, as you can tell, it's never too late to get started if you've got this creative bone and you're from Mississippi and you've drank the water. Trust me, it can happen, and it will set you free. That is everything that Visit Mississippi.org celebrates. So check it out. Martin, I can't thank you enough for spending a Mississippi Minute with me, part 1. I'll see you tomorrow in part 2.
See you then.
I'm Steve Azar. In a Mississippi Minute, all 60 of them, where you can take your sweet time.
A SuperTalk Mississippi Media production.